All right. Perfect. So, yeah, thank you. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I think we are 24 people. That's exciting. This is our actually our second community meeting. The first one I think was the past month or 2 months ago. So this is something that we try to do. Like when the team has like a amount of features that they want to showcase to all of you. So yeah, the first thing that I want to say is for all the ones that are here that are not on our Discord, the Discord is a good place that you can share your doubts, your experiences, like share feedback as well. So feel free to go to Discord and join us for anything related to Genkit. So with that being said, today the community meeting is focused on Go, but before that, um, the team wants to talk about some announcements that were made at Google Cloud Next. So for starting with Firebase Studio and Chris. I think Chris he will talk about Firebase Studio a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the introduction. By the way, folks, I'm the PM for Genkit, or product manager for Genkit. Sorry, I use Google terms everywhere all the time. And if you guys weren't following along at Cloud Next, I'm really excited to tell you a little bit about Firebase Studio, which is one of the most exciting announcements to come out of Firebase. Let me go ahead and share my screen so I can give all of you a better idea of what I'm talking about. All right. Javi, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see this okay?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Just getting a few thumbs up from the audience. So when you go to studio.firebase.google.com, you can also get here through the Firebase docs for Firebase Studio. You'll be presented with a screen like this. It's really simple. You can see that I've been having so much fun with it that I'm already approaching my limit of 10 workspaces for my free tier that I'm on right now. But the exciting thing is that you can give it a prompt, ask it to make you any type of app, and it'll start vibe coding it for you. Right. So let's say an app that generates recipes from photos. Why not? Now, you might be wondering, why is he showing me Firebase Studio? I thought this was a Genkit community meeting. And the exciting news is that, one, Firebase, the actual app generation in Firebase Studio is powered by Genkit behind the scenes. Our team used Genkit to help build out Firebase Studio app generation features very quickly in preparation for Cloud Next. So that was a really great validation, I think, for how Genkit can help you be productive and help you build really cool things. Now, the next step, as you're actually going through this generation phase, is to review the requirements or the actual features in the app, and then you can go ahead and get to prototyping. Now, this does take a little bit of time, although it's frankly faster than you'd expect, considering it's generating the entire kind of Next.js app. And let's wait for it to go through all the requirements. And I'm actually going to go skip ahead to an app that I already made called Poem AI. This lets you upload an image to. So by the way, I didn't write any code to get here. I went through the process that I just showed you. It generated the list of features that I wanted. From there, I could have interacted with the app generation agent, asked it to include a specific color, a specific color scheme. I could have asked it to modify specific features, add additional features that weren't listed in the additional requirements. No coding necessary. And then I got to something like this. So you input an image from your local machine, and then it can generate a, here I chose Sparky and the Does the Flutter mascot have a name? Does anyone know? It's completely Dash. That's what it is. Dash.
Yeah.
So this is Sparky and Dash hanging out. They wrote a nice sweet poem about it. Absolutely no code necessary. There's also after it's generated all the necessary files. Actually, the previous one might be ready now. Yeah. Here's my recipe snap app. You can see that you can also auto-generate an API key for Gemini. So you don't even need to go to AI Studio directly or anything. You can just click this button and everything will be ready for you. And the AI features will work immediately. Now, the other cool thing to call out is not only is the actual app generation here powered by Genkit, but if your app has any AI-related features, of course, here I'm generating a poem, then of course it has AI-related features. Firebase Studio uses Genkit by default as the backend AI framework. So you can see that in the poem app, it already generated a folder with a few different flows for me that are relevant to my app. The defined Genkit AI instance with the model. And you can even run the developer UI. So you can immediately start iterating on the actual AI features and prompts themselves, which I have open right here. And this is running off of my Firebase Studio instance. So I can immediately start playing with all the models I have available to me, all the flows it created. And yeah, it's a pretty seamless experience. So if you love building with Genkit or you're interested in getting started with it and you haven't started just yet, Firebase Studio might be a really fun way to do that. Not just with a little CLI app, but with an entire Next.js app generated. All right, I think I already took more time than I had allotted to me. So I'm going to go pass it off. Pavel, do you want to talk about Python?
Yes. Let me just quickly present my screen. So at the last community meeting, we talked about Genkit Python, that it is coming, and at Cloud Next we announced the alpha release or alpha preview of Genkit Python, and here you see it is published on PyPy. So you should basically, it's super easy to get started. And from PyPy here, you can actually just go to our documentation site. So it's python.api.genkit.dev, and all of the docs are available here. So everything kind of with just a high-level overview to like kind of get started here, how to get things set up and to run your first app. It should be pretty simple. So you just basically need Python installed, and you can run this simple app. And then, and if you install Genkit CLI separately, you can do Genkit start and all the other fun features. And yeah, like, so it is released in alpha, and we're kind of the main thing that we're kind of want right now, like really asking the community for is feedback. So we really want to see if you folks try it out and provide feedback on the APIs, usability, what kind of features you're looking for, like really like any kind of feedback. And here you can see in the documentation the plugins that we have available with Google Gen AI, Firestore, Vector Store, Olama, and DevLocal Vector Store. Like what kind of other plugins you want to see here, and yeah, please provide feedback. And during this kind of the early alpha stage, you have like a great opportunity to influence the roadmap of the product and the APIs. Yep, that's it. Thanks. I think I'm gonna hand it off to someone. I don't know.
It's Alex. It's Alex.
I'll take it from here. Yeah, so I think last time we met, Genkit Go was still in the same alpha state that it had launched in mid last year. We were talking about kind of our road to beta. We talked about how we would have an immediate release and then smaller releases leading up to beta. Yes, Iman?
I have a question. Maybe we know what alpha, beta, and GA is, and we keep talking about it. Maybe like give an explanation of alpha, beta, GA. What does Python mean in alpha? What does Go mean in beta?
Sure, yeah. So roughly speaking, like alpha generally means it is in very active development. It is good for prototyping, experimentation, kind of getting a feel for it, getting a feel for how it may suit your needs. But there are no guarantees. The API is going to probably drastically change with each release. There are no guarantees that anything will remain the same. There's no guarantees for like features coming soon, stuff like that. Beta is a much closer state to a full release. Beta may still have breaking features. Things may still change, but things have already kind of started settling, and the overall structure will remain the same. You kind of have a little bit of guarantees that you can start building with it. It may not be fully production ready because there are missing parts, missing features, missing support. Maybe the dependencies you have are also in preview or in beta. So you yourself can't make guarantees because your dependencies can't make guarantees. But overall, it is approaching a stable state where you can build and it will work consistently for as long as you keep using that version. And of course, GA means it's general availability, which it just means like a V1. It is stable. Any breaking changes will have to come in a major version. So you can confidently update patch and minor versions, knowing that only new features can be added. So kind of coming back to Go. Go was in this alpha state for most of last year. Last time we were talking about how we were going to, where it was in active development. We had a lot of features and improvements coming, and we did. So we did eventually release the 0.3 release as we talked about, but Genkit Go was actually in a really good state. So we instead of releasing Genkit Beta approximately 2 months from that meeting, roughly in mid-May, as we were predicting, we actually launched last week at Cloud Next. So Genkit Go is now in beta. We're very happy with the state of things. It is pretty solid. It has a lot of overlap in features with Genkit.js, which of course is GA. And yeah, let me show you. Yeah, let me share my screen so we have something to look at. But one of the first things that you'll notice is we updated the docs. So the docs were unfortunately in pretty poor shape for some time because we were making such drastic changes, and we didn't really keep them up. But now we have docs that will look very familiar to JS. It covers most features, but not everything. We still have a lot of improvements in the pipeline. But besides the docs, just to give you a quick overview, kind of what happened in the beta release, we have had a lot of improvements in APIs across the board. Stuff like creating Jenkins instances, installing plugins, defining, loading, executing prompts, making generate calls, using tools, like everything. All of the concepts that exist in Genkit have had some amount of makeover. We now have unified configuration across all the primitives. Primitives meaning things like models, embedders, retrievers, tools, stuff like that. So unified configuration means that when you configure options, so for example, if you pass tools or you set a prompt or you pass messages or you set a config, all of those configs are passed uniformly to everything that supports them. And you get hard typing. You get hard typing on like compile type time errors if you pass the wrong option. But under the hood, it's still just using the same code, so everything's consistent. We have a new unified Google Generative AI plugin It now combines both Google AI and Vertex AI. It has like features like native constraint generation, context caching, native image generation, which is going to release today, code execution, which will release today, and lots of other improvements to make it a more cohesive experience. You can now manage your own like server with any server framework that you'd like. You can expose your flows. You can expose any action, actually, and provide context providers, which include things like auth. We now have native evaluation support, so you can write evaluators in Go. We have migrated to the standalone Google.prompt package with full feature support. So now the .prompt side of things will be carried out in that repo, and Genkit is just has it as a dependency. And then we have just kind of a full set of generation features, the things that you may have used and come to expect in JS. We have near full feature parity in Go now as well, with the rest coming very soon. And of course, like I mentioned, we have the new documentation. We have like a getting started guide. You know, there's an explanation for developer tools. You know, you can see how to deploy to Cloud Run, stuff like that. And again, we do have, this was kind of, because we were happy with the state of Genkit Go and we wanted to release it, give you some confidence to use it by having the beta state. We didn't have a ton of time to kind of overhaul our docs, unify them with JS, and kind of have a cohesive, thorough experience there. But that is coming. We have a plan to improve the docs, make it even easier to get started, and that's coming very soon. So now I'm going to jump in and share some code samples. So you can see this, right? Yes. Okay. So for example, this is a code sample I wrote up in Go just today. So I'll kind of walk you through it. I'll show you how it looks in the dev UI. I'll run it. I'll run the prod server, and we'll see how it works. So here we have a couple of structs defined. This will come into play in a little bit. So here we create a Genkit instance. We pass the Google Gen AI, Google AI plugin. So here you can pass some parameters like the API key, or it can take it from environment variables. We set a default model to be used for all generation calls, but of course this can be changed per prompt, per generation, whenever you want. You can just set it on a top level and it'll propagate through. Here we're defining a tool. This is just like mocking getting weather for a particular location. Then we have a prompt. So this is unlike when Genkit Go Alpha launched, we kind of had the .prompt plugin, and then you could kind of define prompts in code. Now all of that is one system. Like when you define a prompt in code, it has all of the same configuration as in .prompt, like the .prompt file. It's the exact same thing. So you can use one or the other. You can define a .prompt file that will be loaded in, or you can do it in code. Here I am doing it in code. So we define some like system prompt, a prompt. We pass our weather tool. Here we have, we define the input type. So what this does is it takes the weather query structure we have here. It will generate a JSON schema that it will validate against. And you can also set a default for any fields as well. So if you execute this prompt and you don't pass anything else, it will use San Francisco as a default. And likewise with output type, it generates the output schema. It will set the output format to JSON. It will automatically inject those instructions or use native constraint generation, depending on whether the model supports it or whether you use it. And then continue on, we have a weather flow. Here we're going to execute the weather prompt with a config. This is optional. And here we're going to take the location that is passed into the prompt and pass it to the location that's passed into the flow and pass it to the prompt. This is how we constrain the output to our expected type. And here we're going to return it. So next we have another prompt. So this is like a prompt that maybe it's like a you have a greeting in your app for the user. So it's going to take in a task count. So the user is going to get some tasks that they need to do for the day. Here we're going to run the weather flow in line with San Francisco. That's where I'm based in. So I'll run that. And then here is another example of using constraint generation. We're going to generate a task list just by calling genkit.generateData with a list of tasks. And I'll pass it this prompt that generates a list. Great. Here I'm going to do some massaging to convert it into a string. And here we're going to actually take the username from the action context that's passed in. So I'll kind of demo this in two ways. But for now, just see that we are injecting the user. It's not a input to the flow. It's actually gone from the action context. So here we're going to finally return this this greeting. And at the end, we're going to start our production server. And as you can see, it just takes a few lines. We have a nice helper here that does kind of like a little bit of lifecycle management and system interrupt handling. But it looks just as easy in other third-party server frameworks like Jin, Kai, Echo, whatever you prefer. And here, this is where I was talking about with the context providers. When you create a Genkit HTTP handler for your action, you can pass a context provider. And here I just simulated, you have access to this request data, which has the method, headers, and input. Here I just do some like very, very basic conversion, but you can use Firebase, auth, or anything else you'd like. So I'm going to jump over to, 1 second, sorry. I'm going to jump over to, so yeah, so let's go back to, so this is the dev UI. I am running the morning greeting flow. So here, this input is the number of tasks that I want. I'm going to choose 5. We're going to run. So here we get kind of the result. We're getting we're getting good morning guests. So I'll come back to this in a second. The weather in San Francisco is sunny and 70 degrees today. I don't know if it actually is because we're faking it, but and here are like the 5 tasks that it generated. So for example, to try out different context, we can go into context JSON here, this tab, and we can set this to whatever we want. So this would naturally be pulled in. If you have a prod server, you would pass a context provider that would do something. You know, it would take for example, the authorization header, validate it, and then inject the parsed user data into the action context. Here we're faking it, so I'm going to pass the user key. We're going to try it again, and you'll see that it updates. So so if we jump back 1 second. If we jump back here, we can also try out our production server. So here I'm going to call the same morning greeting flow with the secret token that I'm expecting here that matches me. I'm going to pass 3 as the task count, and let's try it out. And here we get the same thing. We get good morning, Alex, weather in San Francisco. Here are the tasks. So this is kind of like a, it's not everything we have. Like there are a lot of features that we also support, like RAG, evaluations, custom formats, many things. I don't want to bore you with kind of running through every single thing, but we do have great documentation now. We also have great package docs, which I'll share here. We have great package docs with a bunch of inline samples, so you kind of know what each thing does. You can see how to define a format. You can see how to define a helper. You can see how to define a prompt. how to define tools. So it should be much easier than it was in the past to get started, kind of understand the concepts, understand how they can help you in your application. And yeah, this is so. All of this is to say, this is laying the groundwork for a Genkit Go GA release sometime later this year. Like the timeline for that will greatly depend on kind of the feedback that we get. If things are happy, or if people are happy with things, we will kind of solidify it, make it stable, add in kind of the remaining features and release. If there is feedback, if we kind of have big changes, we will release those as beta first, get feedback and then release. So in the next few weeks to, let's say, a month, we have more exciting features coming. We will have things like prompts as tools, which is a concept that we have in Genkit that kind of like helps you build networks of agents. We will have session and chat support. Sessions kind of propagates a common state between generate calls. Chats is kind of the same thing, where you can easily build chatbots that lets you persist that session state and lets you kind of subthread multiple conversations. We will have a more involved interruptible tool resuming and restarting support. So right now you can interrupt a tool and get back the tool request, so you can continue handling it manually, but we don't have the same resume restart support that we have in JS. And of course, much more plugin support. So today we will launch Anthropic via Model Garden, and next week we should have an OpenAI compatible plugin. So there you will have a plugin that supports any OpenAI compatible API endpoint. So things like Anthropic, Grok, and of course OpenAI itself. We've had a great collaboration between our community members that have been working on that. We're very excited to launch this because, of course, we know there's great demand for models that aren't necessarily provided by Google. And of course, like other things like vector stores, auth, and other things to kind of complete things end to end. Things like MCP, yeah, and other exciting like kind of features that you might expect. Yeah, Chris.
So I'm curious. We show off the developer UI a lot for Genkit JS as like a tool to help you rapidly iterate in your apps. Does that work too for Go now?
Yeah, so you have everything that is supported in JS is supported in Go. You can test out your models there with your custom model configs. You can test out your prompts. You can test out your evaluators and flows. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I forgot to show off the tracing for the flow we ran. So you still have your traces, you have everything stepped through, you have your metadata, you can see the inputs and outputs. So DevUI is a great tool to kind of gain insight into what happens under the hood. Iterate, you can see the constraint generation. So yeah, it's a great tool, and we have documentation that helps you kind of get started and use it.
I think maybe another thing to call out here is we're actively working on trying to make the CLI, the Genkit CLI that you need to launch the DevUI from, a binary that you can just install. So if you're a Go developer, you don't need to worry about all the other dependencies that come with the CLI. You just install it and start testing. Start iterating, start playing around.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's about all I had for today. Are there any questions? Yeah, Bruce, go ahead.
So I was on a call just recently, and they were covering model armor, which I thought was a really great feature. And I was curious whether or not you have any plans to support that as part of the Genkit framework.
I'm not familiar.
Maybe you're not familiar with it. I wasn't until this call. Basically, what it does is it allows you to take a prompt and then validate that it doesn't have any like security issues. It's like, there's like our firewall, cloud armor. This is model armor. It's the same kind of thing. So if people are sending malicious kind of like prompts and trying to do things, then it'll actually validate that and tell you whether it's a good prompt or a bad prompt.
Yeah, so one of the things that we support is middleware. So one of the things you can pass to any generate call or a prompt execution call is middleware. And middleware is something that it can either be provided by plugins, you can define yourself, and it's essentially just, it wraps around the model request and model response. So this sounds like it would be a very easy thing to add there. You can just parse the model request, validate it, and if it seems malicious, you can just short circuit and get out of the call and not send it to the model.
Yeah. So Gary, they do plan on integrating that into the network itself, the load balancers. But there may be cases where you don't have the load balancer in front for some reason. So I thought that would be a question. Yes. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, on that topic, we were talking about how we could create a plugin that could add to middleware, specifically for model armor checks and all the other services out there for prompt safety. I think it's a good feature. Let's talk about it later and see what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Gary?
Oh, sorry, I was just going to answer that question before. Yeah, we can take it offline. I don't think the model armor has a library unless we're talking about a different model armor, but I get the idea of putting middleware in there, having just done the model armor stuff for our gateways. But yeah, I mean, I think the middleware concept sounds good, right?
Cool. Chris?
Yeah, so I also saw a question in the chat about plans to consolidate / integrate with the agent development kit. Yeah, and thank you so much for the question. So right now, Genkit and the agent development kit have a number of differences. Like the languages that we support currently, the ADK is Python only. Genkit is for Python, JavaScript, and Go. And I think one of the main differences, if you actually play around with it, is that the ADK is very, very focused on agent and multi-agent abstractions, whereas Genkit is a lot more general of a framework, I would say, to try to bring you as close to the actual underlying model as possible, and I think a little bit lower level. So you can use, of course, Genkit to build agents, but I think we have fewer built-in opinions about how you do so. So ultimately, I think it's a fundamental difference on what are you trying to build and on the developer experience that you want when you do it. There are no short-term or there are no current plans for consolidating Genkit with ADK. They are going to provide two separate frameworks and two fairly different developer experiences. Yeah, if that wasn't clear, please follow up with any questions in the chat or feel free to raise your hand here, and I'll do my best to answer. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Reza?
Oh, actually, before you go, Reza, sorry, one more thing I'd like to mention is that there are also samples of Genkit using the agent-to-agent protocol. So as far as being able to integrate and work both work together, the idea with the agent-to-agent protocol is you should be able to build agents using ADK or using Genkit and actually have them work together. Yeah, and Reza, if you're saying something, I think you're muted. All right, that was my last
No,
point. Thanks.
that's really great. A few months ago, I started working on a RAG application to just play with this kind of AI stuff. And I started with Firebase with Python. And someday I saw that Genkit coming up in the Firebase panel, and I said that let's give it a try. So I wanted to mention that everything is fine if you want to start a new project. But when I wanted to integrate it with my Python project, I started with creating some functions in Node.js. But the developer UI is not working well with this kind of scenario where you have a project. So at some point, I decided to stop using developer UI because it was really difficult for me to work with that, and just started my client-side code to test Jenkins functions, flows, and everything there. Just wanted to make a quick feedback for that. So I guess I tried a lot. When we are developing, we need to connect the emulator with the to test our functions, and the combination with the Genkit and the Genkit UI is really complicated right now. Some part of the code is working. For example, I can show you. I can see my prompts in the developer UI, but when you go here, you see there is, for example, there is two flows here, and my flows are shown here. But when I go to, for example, prompts, no prompts are shown here. But as you see, I have so many prompts here, and all of them are working now. I have a production-ready application, which is published on App Store, but I cannot use the Genkit UI. And apart from this feedback, I don't know if we have time. I just want to showcase my project and to see, to show you, but I want to share the power of Genkit. Do we have time for a quick showcase?
Sure.
Okay, this is the application I was working the past 3 months, and this is just a simple RAG application. And the goal is to help you to be a system for your knowledge, or we can say your bookmark. So you add a new bookmark to this application. For example, let's add the any option, any URL here, and list the power of the LLMs. Here I'm using Gemini. We create this suggestions, we create the summary. I tested all Jenkins features. You can chat with your current documents, or you can chat with all your bookmarks you have. For example, here is 80 bookmarks. You can chat with all your bookmarks here and retrieve data. And this is just another feature. I recently used a lot of Google products and Genkit together. You can have a quick summary of your bookmark in every day, and it creates a podcast-like experience for you. You can just listen to it, and yeah, that's all I've found with Genkit and Firebase.
Yeah, thank you so much for the showcase, Reza. This is awesome. If you continue to have issues with the developer UI, please start a thread with us. And I don't think we have time to dig into the details right now, but I'd love to figure out, because like Genkit, the dev UI should work like perfectly within like an existing app where you side by side with the rest of your backend code. So there's probably some setup issue that maybe we haven't documented well. So if you can start a thread on that, I'd love for us to dig in, see how we can, one, help you, but then also improve our documentation to ensure other folks don't run into the same issue. Yeah, on Discord, if you could start a thread there.
Sure, thank you.
And that's, by the way, this is like, the same applies for problems in any other languages or anything else. I'm assuming many of you are already on the Discord, but please, like we try to be as active as possible there to minimize the distance between you and our engineering team. We've gotten incredible amounts of feedback there that's helped us improve the product. So whether it's Genkit.js, Go, Python, or the developer UI, we welcome all kinds of feedback, and we'll do our best to help you and integrate your input into our roadmap. Iman, I think you have your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Reza. That was like super amazing, super exciting for us to see things built with Genkit. Chris, I think one feedback that we can take is to revisit our user journeys for apps that already have something, or not like starting from scratch from Genkit. I think we talked about that before, but we should like go through those user journeys and see how our docs and pages and samples are aligned for that.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, realistically, in the next like few months, probably all apps are just going to be vibe coded from Firebase Studio. So I mean, you know, maybe that'll be the primary journey we need to be aware of. I'm joking, by the way, y'all. I know that some people talk seriously about these things. That was a joke, I promise.
Yeah, AI will replace us very soon. So it's only a short time.
Yes, Gary.
So this was great, but I guess just a quick one for you guys. I mean, maybe a positioning question or whatever. I mean, how important do you see, as Genkit Go in the overall sort of, Genkit ecosystem? Obviously important enough to go beta and be the second language behind JS, but is this like, are we going to keep going with it?
Yeah, I can take that. Extremely important. I don't know if you know, but like the initial versions of the Go SDK was built by the Go team at Google themselves.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know Cameron and the team built it. Yeah, that's how I found out about it.
Yeah, so yes, it's extremely important. It's critical. We want Genkit to be multi-language. We want it to be supporting a broader community. We are targeting developers and app developers specifically. And Go is like, a huge, addressable market for us. So definitely Go is top priority. We're trying to look at Go as like a Go developer. We're not just copying JS code into Go. We're rethinking everything in Go. We're investing a ton, and we're also working, like Alex and the team worked a ton to make sure Dev UI works seamlessly with Go as well. So we want to keep portability of the Dev UI between all the languages. I would say probably the timeline that Alex gave makes sense. We're working really hard to make that happen and reach GA with Go. All right. Any other questions?
Yes, so Dev dropped something in the chat about having guardrail support, Nemo guardrails. Let's see what that is. Oh, I see. It's an NVIDIA feature. Yeah, there are lots and lots of things that we can add. Of course, we are kind of we're bottlenecked by our engineering bandwidth, but we still want to hear from you all, like which things are important to you. We can always kind of reprioritize, adjust things. So yeah, please try it out. Give us feedback on Discord. We would love to hear it. I promise you, we will look at it. We will respond to it. We'll take action on it. Yeah, for Go and Python and JS, everyone's very eager to get feedback, and yeah, hope you find it useful. Hope you can build great apps with it, and yeah, we can continue developing. If there are no other questions, Xavi, do you want to close it out?
There's another question from Tomas. Tomas, if you wanna unmute yourself, if not.
Sure. One of the last sessions of the Google Cloud Next was Chris actually talking about this with Dimitri, and it was a great session. And one of the things that I'm curious about, that Chris addressed it very briefly, but this one is maybe for the Googlers. It is what I wrote there. So do you believe that ADK and Genkit are targeted for different audiences, despite obviously being two tools that overlap quite a bit? And what are Google's goals behind creating and maintaining two different tools for creating agents? Because we have two now, right? Genkit and ADK, even though obviously ADK only runs on Python at the moment. Genkit supports Python plus other languages. So yeah, I mean, further clarification would be great, at least for me and maybe for the community overall.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think if I can use maybe like a similar example in the ecosystem, right, for other popular frameworks, it's similar to the reason why I think like LangChain, for example, has the LangChain framework and then separately a LangGraph framework that's more dedicated specifically to agent development. It's not a perfect analog for ADK and Genkit. I don't think either of us overlap with those like 100% directly, but you can kind of get the idea, right? Like ADK at this point, like I said in the previous explanation, is very focused specifically on agent definition, right? If you need to make like a direct call to a model to, let's say, generate a poem that follows a specific schema, right? That's probably not something that you need a multi-agent system to do. And having like, Genkit's generate method, or using Genkit's generate method with our built-in features for structured output will likely be fewer lines of code and less complexity to worry about. Now, if you're building a multi-agent system, you don't want to put as much thought into how you do agent handoffs, for example, or if you want to integrate more seamlessly into some of Vertex's offerings, like the Vertex agent runtime that they have. The ADK is probably going to be a more straightforward development experience. So in short, essentially, I think they operate at different levels of abstraction, with Genkit being a lower level of abstraction and a more general AI framework that you can use to do everything from the simplest call directly to a model to iterating on an individual prompt to building more complex, like multi-step AI workflows and agents. The ADK is specifically focused on agent development and the development of complex multi-agent systems. And of course, there's also the language differences. So over time, what I would expect is more areas where the two can coordinate and collaborate, such as the agent-to-agent protocol that I mentioned earlier. But yeah, I think the idea is to try to provide options for developers at various levels of abstraction to best meet their needs for the specific use case that they're trying to accomplish. Does that make sense, Tomas?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, I can completely understand that it's a little bit confusing. And I think what you can expect in the near future is more documentation and content to try to help you understand when to choose which option. And that is something that we're interested in doing to be able to answer this question in a more robust and reliable way going forward.
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. I think one of the things that also I believe Google did, Google did the same exact thing when Kotlin multi-platform was announced. I think the Flutter community was like, hey, what's this about? I mean, Google already has a framework for developing cross-platform apps. Flutter is a thing, and then obviously Kotlin multi-platform overlaps quite a bit with Flutter. So Google released actually a blog where they explain a little bit of the differences and when it would be a good use case to use one versus the other. So I guess that something similar between ADK and Genkit could be super helpful. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Are there any other questions? If not, I think we can wrap up here just in time. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. And as we said, please feel free to continue the conversation on the Discord server, where you can find like more developers like you, and also more like Google engineers that can help you with all your questions and troubleshooting your issues. So yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for joining today. Bye bye.
Thank you. Awesome talking with
you.
everyone.
Bye.